The man who would become Christianity's most influential theologian spent nearly a decade believing Christianity was wrong. Augustine, the future saint, was convinced that the God of the Bible was the villain of cosmic history. One of history's greatest minds rejected the faith he would later champion. What drove him away, and what did he find instead? The answer reveals a puzzle that still haunts believers today. Augustine faced a logical trap that has troubled believers for millennia. The problem of evil. If God is all good, he would want to prevent suffering. If God is all powerful, he could prevent suffering. Yet suffering exists everywhere, constantly, often falling on the innocent. And this creates an impossible triangle. Any two propositions work together. All three together create contradiction. Either God lacks the power to stop evil, or he lacks the will. Neither option describes the Christian God. But the problem of evil wasn't Augustine's only concern. He was educated in classical rhetoric, Cicero, Virgil, philosophical elegance. When he opened the Old Testament, he recoiled. God floods the entire world. God destroys cities with fire. God kills a man named Uzzah for merely steadying the Ark of the Covenant. Worse still, God walks in gardens, holds conversations, displays anger like a human. For a sophisticated young intellectual trained in Greek philosophy, this looked like primitive mythology. Both anxieties pointed to the same question: is this really God? Then Augustine discovered Manicheanism, a religion founded by a Persian prophet named Mani in the 3rd century. Mani taught cosmic dualism, two eternal principles locked in warfare: light versus darkness, spirit versus matter, good versus evil. Not one God who permits suffering, but two gods in eternal conflict. The good God rules the realm of spirit and light. The evil God, and here's the radical claim, created the material world. The evil God is Jehovah, the God of the Old Testament, the creator of Genesis. Suddenly, everything made sense. The Manichean solution was elegant. The problem of evil solved. Evil exists because an evil God is genuinely powerful, not because the good God permits it. The crude Bible explained. Those troubling passages describe the wrong God, the evil creator, not the true divine. The Old Testament becomes the record of the villain. Augustine had found his answer. For 9 years, he remained a Manichean, but there was a catch. If matter is evil, you expect Manicheans to be extreme ascetics, rejecting all bodily pleasures, punishing the flesh. Some were. But the logic could run the other direction. If your body is inherently evil, separate from your true self, then your body's desires aren't really your fault. The flesh is wicked. Acknowledged. Now deal with it. This was psychologically convenient for young Augustine, who famously struggled with sensual desires. His prayer from this period: grant me chastity and continence, but not yet. Manicheanism offered a framework for that delay. Here's a common misconception. Christianity also teaches the soul matters more than the body. So what's the real difference? The distinction is crucial. Christianity teaches the body is good but fallen, corrupted by sin, not evil by nature. Manicheanism teaches the body is intrinsically evil, a prison for the soul, created by a malevolent God. These aren't subtle variations. They're opposite claims about the nature of physical existence. Is the material world a gift from a good creator, temporarily damaged, or is it a trap set by an evil one? Your answer determines everything about how you live in a body. The decisive proof that Christianity cannot accept Manicheanism: bodily resurrection. Christian doctrine teaches that physical bodies will be raised at the last judgment. Both heaven and hell involve embodied existence, not souls floating free, but resurrected persons. If bodies were evil, God would liberate us from them permanently. Instead, he restores them. Genesis declares creation good. The incarnation puts God in human flesh. The resurrection promises eternal embodiment. Every core Christian doctrine affirms the material world. Manicheanism's elegant solution to evil required rejecting everything Christianity holds essential about creation. Augustine would eventually see through Manicheanism. He noticed the Manichean teachers couldn't answer his harder questions. He encountered Neoplatonic philosophy, which offered a different framework. He met Ambrose, who showed him the Old Testament could be read allegorically. But the problem of evil didn't disappear. Augustine needed a new answer, one that didn't require two gods, didn't make matter evil, but still explained why suffering exists in a world created by a good God. The problem of evil remains the most common reason people give for rejecting belief in God. Augustine's Manichean detour shows that solving the problem by limiting God, giving evil its own divine source, creates new problems. It requires rejecting the goodness of creation, the value of bodies, the hope of resurrection. When evaluating any worldview, ask what it says about the material world. Is physical existence a prison to escape, or a gift to be redeemed? Augustine spent 9 years as a Manichean. He would spend the rest of his life as a Christian, but a Christian who never forgot the problem that drove him away. His eventual answer would reshape Western theology. That answer required rethinking what evil actually is.